that case value, then default will be executed. Remember that one. Default will be executed. Without break statement, what happens? Just you try in your laboratory. Okay, write a program without break statement. What is that output? And write the same program. For the same program, add break statement at the end of each case. Okay. In that way only we can learn the programming, how it works. And that is very important. Just write a switch case program without break statement. Okay, what it executes, how the program executes. When we add break statements, default settings ఉంటాయా? మన మొబైల్ ఫోన్లో default setting ఉంటుంది. మన desktop, laptops, all electronic devices contains default settings, default values ఉంటాయి. If we are unable to set our own values, then the default values will be executed. That will be set, right? Just note down the example. Or you can write your own also. Switch, some value, bracket, some value. Then case, colon, case space 1, colon, some statements. Just write printf statements or any calculation. Switch, some value, any value. You write value, identifier name is value. Switch block open, case 1, colon, some statements, break, case 2, some statements, then default, some statements, break. Close the switch block, end of switch block. Or you can write your own switch statement. Finish. In each case, just write printf statement. Printf something and break. Printf something and break. Default. Printf break. That's it. Finish. When we compare with C, Java, C programming language and Java, Python is easy, very easy. Just directly we can write the statement. No need of all these procedures. For the same operation, just 2 lines is enough in Python, 2 or 3. When it comes to C, Java, minimum 7 lines, 10 lines, like that. That means if you are perfect with C, Java, we can learn any other programming language on our own. No need of coaching, no need of training, nothing is needed. Okay, that's why I used to say you must be perfect with C and Java. C is a structured programming language. Java is a object-oriented programming language. Okay. Finish. Okay. Next heading, repetition. Just put a heading, repetition. Sorry. Screen పోయింది. పెన్ రాలేదనుకోండి. డిజిటల్ బోర్డు సాయి డిజిటల్ బోర్డు రాలేదు. డిజిటల్ బోర్డు రానట్లేదు. సెన్స్ బోర్డా. Heading is repetition. Just note down this definition. Repetition. The real power of computers is in their ability to repeat the job or task. Repetition. Heading is repetition. Most efficient way a machine can do is that repetition, repetitive work in an efficient manner. The real power of computers is in their ability to repeat an operation or a series of operations. Operation, series of operation means a single statement or a group of statements. Many times. This repetition is called looping. Finish? Just definition. Aim rayakan. Don't write anything. Note on this diagram, in loops we have two categories are there, pre-test loop and post-test loop. Just wait a minute. Pre-test loop and post-test loop. Pre-test, before, post, afterwards. Test the expression in the beginning itself. It is called pre-test. Test the expression afterwards. It is called post-test. Pre-test loop and post-test loop. Loops are of two types, pre-test and post-test. Easy to remember. Pre means mundu. First test the expression, then perform the repetition based on the expression. Then the second category is the first perform the execute the operation, then test the expression. Pre-test first condition. If it is true, then execute the action, series of action. If it is false, leave it. ఇదేంటిది చూడండి ఒకసారి. If the condition value is false, don't repeat. Okay, don't repeat the task, don't repeat the job, don't execute. The meaning is that don't execute. Separate path. Just look at this false one. Leave this area. If the condition value true, then perform the repetition. If the condition value false, don't do anything, leave the place. Wherein post test loop, first perform the action. See this action or series of action. One time, remember this one. This is one time. First perform the action, execute the action, then test the expression. Okay. If the expression value false, అంటే ఏం చేయాలి? No need to do anything. అంతేనా? No need to do anything. If the expression value true, go for repetition. Go for repetition. Simple. If the expression value false, leave it. If the expression value true, again repeat the process. Again true is there. Again repeat the process. True, repeat the process. False, leave it. Leave the area. ఇట్లా ఏమైనా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవడానికి టఫ్ ఉంది ఏమైనా? ఏమి లేదు. స్మాల్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ సేమ్. ఫినిష్ డయాగ్రామ్. Loops in C. C has three loop statements, that is while, for, and do while. Among them, the first two are the pre-test. Do while loop is the post-test loop. Pre అంటే ఈజీ, ముందు, పోస్ట్ అంటే తర్వాత. ప్రీ టెస్ట్ ముందు టెస్ట్ చేయడం, పోస్ట్ టెస్ట్ తర్వాత టెస్ట్ చేయడం. C has three loop statements: while, the while, for, do while, do dot 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 while. Finish. Just note down this. Loops: while loop, for loop, do while. While loop is a pre-test loop, for pre-test, do while, post-test. Finish. First one, while loop. Just one line definition. Aim bracket. The while loop is a pre-test loop. It uses an expression to control the loop because it is a pre-test loop. Syntax: while expression, bracket open, some actions, close the bracket. Brackets are very important, otherwise the meaning will be changed. In C, whenever we use open bracket, closing bracket, we call it as block. ఏమంటారు? Block. Block of code or a particular area, set of actions, set of statements, grouping statements. while expression block open some statements, close the bracket. Sample example, while some expression, while block open statements, any statement, printf statement or calculation or whatever it may be. And remember one point, if you don't use the blocks, what happens? Only the next statement belongs to that loop. Okay, na? Correct. Just note on this. What happened? Beta, B కండిషన్ యూజ్ చేస్తే జస్ట్ ఏదైనా ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ రాశాను అంతే, ఎనీ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్. ఓకే, యాజ్ పర్ యువర్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్. హియర్ ఏబి వాల్యూస్ కావాలా? ఏబి వాల్యూస్ మస్ట్ బి ప్రొవైడెడ్, రైట్? ఓకే, what is the difference between this one and this one? Second case, until this expression value falls, okay, a equal to b, if it is true, this statement will be executed, this printf statement will be executed, right? This statement will be executed continuously, it will be executed, right? If it is false, then what happens? Stop executing. So what about this one? Second case, here we did not use any block, open bracket closing bracket లేదు అంటే మీనింగ్ ఏంటి? Okay, whenever we use loop, we must use the block, right? If there is no block, what happens? If there is no open bracket and closing bracket, what happens? Only the first statement, only the first statement belongs to while loop. That's it. Only the first statement belongs to while loop. All these statements doesn't belongs to while. All these statements, remaining statements will not be does not belong to while. Only the next statement of a loop. Loop రాసాం కదా, loop రాసిన తర్వాత next statement ఉంటుంది కదా, only that statement belongs to loop, right? If you don't use blocks, that's why, okay, very important thing is that we must use the blocks. We must create a block, right? A block use చేసామంటే what are the number of statements are there? All the statements treated as single unit. All these statements must be repeated. Until the expression value becomes false. If it is true, repeat. If it is false, don't repeat. Okay, simple. Next one, for loop. Next heading, small heading, side heading, for loop. The first statement is a pretest loop that uses three expressions. The first expression is the initialization, the second expression is the limit test, and the third one is the updating. Note down until this point, this updating expression. Finish. Syntax. For in bracket initialization semicolon test expression semicolon updation. For bracket open initialization semicolon test expression semicolon update expression. Then for block open write statements. It can be one statement or two or three or a number of statements which are to be repeated based on the condition. If there is no block, the same logic. What is that one? If there is no block, only the first statement, this one, first one belongs to this for loop. That's it. Not the second one, not the third one. That's why creating blocks is very important. Creating block means open bracket, some set of statements, close bracket, closing bracket. Write your own example. How many times this hello will be printed? For I initialized to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Printf statement, just printf statement. How many times this printf will be executed? 9 or 10? 10 times. 0 to 9. 0 to 9, right? I equal to 0. 0 less than 10. True. Execute. Then 1 less than 10. True. Execute. 2 less than 10. True. Execute. Then last one, 10 less than 10. false, don't execute, leave the block. Leave the block means at this point, any other statements are there. And then if it is false, leave the area, leave the block, vacate. Syntax and example rasara. Just syntax and example. Syntax for initialization, semicolon, important, semicolon, test expression, semicolon, update expression, and block open some statements, some group of statements. Small side heading, nested loops, write down, nested for loop, make it fast. Nested for loop. How to define it? A loop inside another loop, simple. A loop inside another loop, it is called nested loop. Nested statement, a statement inside another statement. Any statement, even another for loop, can be included in the body of a for statement. Finish. Let's see one example. Note on the example for nested for loop. For I0, I less than 3, I plus plus. Then inside that for J0, J less than 3, J plus plus. Just printf statement. Simple logic. If the expression value true, enter into this loop, enter into the loop. If the expression value false, don't enter into the loop. Leave the loop. Leave the area. For I0, I less than 3, I plus plus. For J0, J less than 3, J plus plus. Some block open, printf statement. Hello. How it works? First I value 0, Then I value 0, 0 less than 3, true or false? 0 less than 3, true. Then enter into the next block, next statement. Again we have the block. What is J? J0, 0 less than 3, true. Then execute the printf statements. Okay, execute the printf statements. Again 0 plus plus, that is 1, here itself only, ikkade. 0 plus plus, that is 1, 1 less than 3, true. Again enter, execute printf, hello. Next 2 plus plus 3, okay. Then 3 plus plus 2 plus plus 3 kada, 3 less than 3, true or false? False. False అయినప్పుడు ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలి? Again go to the outer loop, outer loop. Okay, that means for I 0, j equal to 1, j equal to 2. Just note down this one. For I equal to 1, j equal to 0, j equal to 1, j equal to 2. Then I equal to 2, j equal to 0, j equal to 1, j equal to 2. 9 times. Just note on the sequences, order. For I value 0, j possible values will be j0, 1, 2. For I equal to 1, j0, 1, 2. For I equal to 2, j0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 0, 1, 2. If the inner loop expression value becomes false, then control transfers to the outer loop. Remember that one. The first loop is treated as outer loop. The second is treated as inner loop. Outer loop, inner loop. The best example for nested for loop is where we can use it. For which problem? Matrices are there. Matrix, rows and columns are there, right? Matrix contains rows and columns. Okay. For that we use for two for loops. First for loop for rows. This is for rows. The second for loop for columns. For matrix problem. For matrix problem. Okay. Remember that one. Next one, the do while loop. The do while statement is a post test loop like the while and for loop. It also uses an expression to control the loop, but it tests the expression afterwards, post test afterwards. First execute, then test. The normal procedure is that first test, then repeat. Finish. Finish? Just note down the syntax. Do, do block open, action, close the do block, while, expression, semicolon. Here this statement ends with semicolon. Remember that one. Do block open, action, action, close the block, expression, while, expression, semicolon. In your laboratory, just verify when we use semicolon, what happens, when we don't use semicolon, what happens. In that way only we can learn, we can understand, right? As per the syntax, we must have a semicolon, while, expression, semicolon. Do block open, some statements, any processing or calculation or printing, whatever it may be. Close the bracket, close the do block, then while, expression, semicolon. Don't forget to place the semicolon. Good morning, sir. Just take 1 minute. Okay. Sir, sir. Sir, as homework, yeah. Later. Okay. 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 Sir. Oh. Mm. Sir. Okay. For any concept, right? First, try to write a simple program. Start with a simple program, right? Go on modifying the same program, how the program works. That is very, very important. In that way only we can learn the programming language. We can understand it, right? Finish this one. Do while loop. So how it works? So what is the difference between while loop and do while loop? While loop and do while loop. Can anyone last white shirt? Yourself. నీ వెనకాల ఆయన నీ వెనకాల ఆ, ఆ. Difference between while loop and do while loop. We have three loops are there. Why we need three loops? That question comes to our mind, right? Why we need three loops? Why can't we have only one? All of them are doing the same thing, repetitive work, right? While loop is there, do while is there, for loop is there. While loop, what happens? We are checking the expression after executing some statements. That means minimum one time. Okay, in do while loop, minimum one time the statement will be executed, guarantee, right? If the expression value true, what happens? Again for second time, repeat this for second time, right? If the expression value false, go to next statements. Any other statements are there? And then, right? Okay. That means the difference between while loop and do while loop is that in while loop, if expression value false, okay, there is no repetition. There is no repetition. But when it comes to do while, minimum one time will be executed the statement. First execute the statement, then test the expression. If the expression value true, again for repetition, second time. If again expression value true, third time, fourth time, like that. Okay, that's the difference between while loop and do while. Next, break and continue statements are there. Next heading, other statements related to loops. That is regarding only two are there, break and continue. Break statement and continue statement. Regarding those two. Other statements related to looping. Actually, three are there: break, continue, go to. But go to is a comes under bad practice. Actually, it is remove. Mostly we don't use that one. That is go to statement. We use only two: break and continue. Three other C statements are related to loops, that is break, continue, and go to. GO, TO without spaces. First side heading break. Just now we have used that break statement in switch case, switch statement, multi-way statements. Let's write down break, in a loop the break statement can cause a loop to terminate. For termination, terminate at a particular point or at some conditions, if some conditions were met. In a loop the break statement causes a loop to terminate. And if you are in series of nested loops, break terminates only the inner loop. Nested loop is there. If you use break statement in nested loop, the control transfers to the outer loop. The first loop is treated as outer loop, the second loop is treated as inner loop. Just note down the syntax. Small example. Just note down this one. While while loop is there, inside while loop we have for loop also. For example, a condition inside another condition. While condition, while block open, for loop, for block, this is for block. Inside that one, we have the break statement. Note down same as this. How it works, how the break statement works. While condition, while block open, again for loop is there, for block open, inside for block, if statement is there. If statement break. Draw the diagram as it is. That means if certain conditions met, then stop the looping process. Stop execute the looping process. arrow ఉంది చూడండి. If there is a break statement, then the control transfers to leave this area, leave this for loop, leave the for loop. Leave the for loop means the remaining statements of while, the remaining statements of while loop. Finish. And the last one is the continue one, continue statement.